It was strange being conscious while being unconscious, or being able to actively think things while surrounded by an endless void. I guess that throws my "that's a funny amount of consciousness while being unconscious" comment out the window. When I came to, I was in the woods. Everything was hurting, but I picked myself up and started walking. No one was around, just me and my heavy breathing. It was dark, cold, and I had the feeling that something was very wrong. It took me longer than it should have to realize I was bleeding. Blood was seeping from a wound on my body. A blood-covered hand came up to sit in front of my face, a grim smile forming soon after. Something told me that I knew everything about what had just happened, why I was injured, but I couldn't open my mouth to ask. Stumbling to the makeshift campsite, I collapsed again, listening out into the dark. My blood ran cold when I heard the sing-song voice of someone I hoped I didn't have to face. "Dave? Where did you go?" Soon after was his manic cackling, echoing through the trees. "I know you're out there." As much as my injuries would allow, I scrambled forward to move on from the river. Something was pushing me towards the house. "Orlando." I coughed, blood spattering against the tree as I leaned against blood spattering against the tree I was leaning against when I turned my head? I guess that technically makes sense. Far off into the distance I could make out lights. It had to be the mansion. Further off into the distance I could hear Jack laughing. He seemed to be moving away from me rather than pursuing me. And I sighed. Doing so sent a jolt of pain up through my chest. I continued. Oh, though doing so, okay, that makes more sense. My pace slowed, my vision blurred. I could see someone approaching me in the dark, but it was hard to make out exactly who it was. Maybe I'd given up, or maybe I'd known already, but with how deep the smell of blood was in my nose, I couldn't tell. "There you are." My eyes dipped down to the gun in his hand. "Dean?" I coughed again. He stepped closer. Then everything went black again. When I next opened my eyes, I was laying on my bed. My face hurt. I could smell blood on my face, but it seemed to have control over my body this time. I seemed to have control over my body this time. Pushing myself up, I tried to figure out where I was. One of the bedrooms was about as much as I could tell, but beyond that was hard to say. It was clean, so that ruled out Tyson and Roswell. I couldn't see any plaid, so that ruled out Dean, who just carpets his rooms with the plaid. Sal stepped out of the bathroom, locking eyes with me and wondering what he should say or do. My throat felt scratchy, but after clearing my throat, I shifted so I was sitting on the edge of the bed. How long was I out for?
A while. Long enough. Hours, probably.
That long? How did I get here?
Dean carried you upstairs. Almost had to fight Tyson for it, but they settled on leaving you with me anyway.
Oh.
The friends.
Okay.
They fight over you, Dave.
Did you want anything to eat? A shower, maybe?
If Dave could eat a whole shower, I would be very impressed.
It'd be very difficult. Yeah, a shower sounds great. All I can smell is blood.
And food?
I'm guessing it's dinner time?
You missed dinner, but that's alright, you didn't miss much. Just sandwiches.
Oh, gotcha. He wandered closer, lightly petting my head.
Why were you unconscious downstairs anyway? Did you use?
Yes, I did a bunch of heroin.
I shook my head and he breathed out a sigh of relief. Although I still don't feel great about it. In 2 days we're just...
Going to face this all again?
Right. Sal reached out for my hands and I took them. I held on as he helped me to my feet, and he let his hands fall away.
It's not going to be easy, but this is something we can talk about as a group once everyone has had a chance to think things over. You, however, should get cleaned up. I can go get you a snack if you want it.
Thanks, Sal.
But before I go, I want you to tell me if you're all right or not.
I'm okay now. Tired, but I'm okay. He gave me another look before nodding and heading to the door. I went to have my shower, and Sal was there with a sandwich when I got out.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches. I solved my own mystery. I was like, but bread doesn't last a month. And I'm like, oh right, you can freeze bread.
You can freeze bread. This is correct.
So I'm like, how do they still have sandwiches? It's been 3 weeks. He watched me eat. Sandwiches. He watched me eat, and we cuddled for a bit on the bed. Him running his hand along my back, and I rested on his front, just thinking about how the day went. In 2 days, we'd be going through this again, and the few looks I exchanged with Sal in the dark told me deep down he was worried about it too. Not that there was anything to be done about it, but taking comfort in the safety we gave each other, we soon fell asleep. Please, dear God, let day 22 feature something other than people talking repeatedly about how they have to sacrifice someone tomorrow and also they're running out of food. And they can't get the guns. So I guess the blood was real because he fell on his face because Thanos is a prick. He's just such a prick that he just like knocked Dave out and just left him bleeding out his nose from falling on his face on the ground. It's like in what's like functionally like a fucked up like Sam's Club ass concrete floor room. The day played through my mind. Not solid enough to form a dream about it, but the event still rang true. The dream. Dom. The talk. You know. Benson collapsing, and Thanos' plan to do something. If Sal and Haas hadn't shown up, who knows what would have happened. I think I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think I heard that the release schedule for this game was that they put out 1 day per update across all of the paths simultaneously or something. So I guess that's why I guess that explains this particular recap, because I'm just like, oh my god, we're recapping everything again. But I guess this is like the first sentence of the new update a month or two or however long later. That at least makes more sense. But 2 days, that's all we had until the next event was going to happen. Was a lot of time or just a little? The idea kept bouncing in my head between the two, the more I thought about it. As I opened my eyes, I took a moment to adjust. Carefully, I looked at the ceiling and flexed each of the fingers in turn, making sure I wasn't asleep. I felt silly that that's what it had come to, but I breathed out knowing I was properly awake.
Dave.
I turned to watch Sal sit up in bed, yawning widely before rubbing his eyes.
I've probably mentioned it before. No nipples.
Yeah, well, reptiles don't have
None
nipples. Checkmate.
Yeah, no, I know that, but
also
like,
no one else has nipples.
He's a whole ass man.
Yeah.
We got no nippies.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Did you sleep well?
I slept, I think. I'm awake, right? Sal ran his claws through the fur on my head gently, nodding. He pulled away to get out of bed and stretch. What about you? How'd you sleep?
Well enough.
Is it yesterday?
No, it's today.
What?
No, this is Patrick.
What the fuck?
Patrick. No, I mean,
hate
did you
this.
not sleep well because of what happened yesterday? He shook his head.
I said no. It's about today.
It's that's what he did understand. He just meant, all right. So it's a fucking who's on first. He looked me over with a slight tilt of his head, and he finished getting dressed.
What happened yesterday was a lot, but it's today that has me worried. Can we believe Dominic? Can we really be all right with the plan for what's happening tomorrow?
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I suppose we'll see how everyone is holding up once we're all awake.
Sal waited for me to get dressed, and we headed up downstairs. Upon seeing Sal stop, I turned to see what he was looking at to find Dean standing outside with a cup of coffee. Wordlessly, Sal motioned for me to continue on without him before changing directions towards the back door. Before we opened the door, he flashed me a quick smile before joining Dean, leaving me to get coffee on my own. The moment I stepped into the kitchen, I made for the coffee pot and got myself sorted. Rationing out a little of the milk from the refrigerator, I took my coffee a little darker than usual. Not that it mattered when the bitter flavor hit my tongue. The milk is more debatable as far as how long that's gonna last. The warmth and the jolt of endorphins that came with my favorite drink gave me the jump I needed to properly wake up. Though not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I could feel myself start to take stock a bit easier. Dom would be back tomorrow, and if what Thanatos said was right, we'd be trading Benson off for our safety, or as a way off the mountain. Didn't really sit that well with me, but it wasn't as if I had a say in it. Going to the pantry, I was reminded of our food situation. Best not touch anything in case Orlando already had plans for every little thing in here. Plans to make breakfast went out the window. It's not like you have a say in it. The only... It's like... You literally do have a say in it. You're a group of people with free will that can just deviate from the plan and do whatever you want if you feel the need to. Like, you don't have to listen to Thanatos. He's not it's not like Dom inherently trusts or defers to the talking rat he just met with no context. Like, you can just change the plan. It's not even like there's a majority of like, or even like a series of authority figures here. Like, oh man, this plan's been hatched by Benson and Thanatos and Oswin. Like, it's just Thanatos. Everyone else is unconscious and not aware, or they're your friends that are also just deferring to Thanatos here. Going to the pantry, I was reminded of our it's the breakfast thing. The faint tapping of his foot on the counter clued me into him being there before I turned around. But there he was all the same. There he was all the same. But there he was all the same. That just doesn't scan.
What are you doing?
Thinking.
About.
Stuff and things. Stuff. Sandwiches.
Stop that.
What else am I supposed to do?
I love the idea of Thanatos telling Dave, like, no, stop thinking, you'll hurt yourself. Making yourself useful seems like a good start.
And how am I supposed to be doing that exactly? Dom is coming tomorrow, right? If we play nice, then we get off the mountain, right?
You'd think you had listened to what I said yesterday. He's variable.
I still don't know what you mean by that. Things went all right yesterday. He listened to you. We just have to wait.
You really think it's gonna be that simple?
I hope it will be.
What about Jack, then?
What about him?
You think he's just gonna let all of you walk off the mountain? Think Memphis will do the same?
Yes?
This is an interesting game in the context of, like, what if your character is actually, like, this is just a wonderful story of a boy who truly is the opposite of genre savvy. Like, just, this is what if a character was so not genre savvy that the story had to have, like, he just didn't even understand it as it was happening to him. It's very fascinating to me. Well, that's why I said variable. Sometimes they don't.
Even after Dom made his deal?
Who do you think you're dealing with, Junior, really?
I don't know these people. It's not like I've had to make deals or talk with the mafia before. I don't know how this works. I'm just scared. I want to go home. I want to keep my friends safe.
I find it so funny that he's like, Memphis gets introduced as, it's your friend's dad. He hates your friend. He wants to kill your friend. He also thinks that you all are expendable. He's actively trying to kill you. He trapped you on the mountain. I'm coming here to give you a deal, but he also just, like, straight up doesn't really pay attention to the deal. He's a very dangerous man who will murder you. Anyway, do you think that he'll murder you? And David's like, I don't know. He seems reasonable. I'm just hoping nothing happens. It's like, what are you talking about? How are you this dumb? Then think about how you're going to do that.
Can't you just tell me what's not worked already?
Not doing anything doesn't work. There's a clue.
Could have said that 20 days ago. I growled, stepping closer to him, but he took a couple steps back, as if expecting me to do something. I hate how you make me feel. I hate how you make me feel, by the way. Like, I don't have a say in anything. Like, I don't have any control. None of this bad stuff would be happening if you weren't around.
Incorrect.
There's a few messy things, but also there's just the idea that, like, I hate how you make me feel like I don't have any control when you're telling me to fucking stand up and do something and take control. Like,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a dissonance where I'm like, isn't Thanos basically yelling at him to take action and not telling him what the action is, which inherently is not him saying that he doesn't have any say?
It rings extremely hollow because Dave has absolutely no Dave is allergic to having agency. And when Thanatos is like, you stupid motherfucker, you're wasting the fact that you have so much agency in this situation, just do it. David's like, how dare you make me feel powerless? And it's like, Dave, you have had so much agency throughout this, and every single opportunity you've just been like, yeah, no. It's just like, fuck you, dude. You really think so?
I know so. If you weren't a thing, then Memphis wouldn't be trying to get you. People wouldn't have to be dying to test how this thing works. Who knows what else?
take that back. You don't know anything, Dave.
Take that back. I like that the implication that like Thanos' feelings are hurt by this moment. I know enough. I was assaulted by sound that made me buckle but not pass out.
You know nothing.
Thanos so clearly has emotions, like he's so fucking petty.
You can't even comprehend how many times I've had to watch all of you die. How many times I've been left alone for countless years until I wake up the next time around to do it all again.
Yeah, so he's from his perspective, regardless of whether or not it makes sense, he's essentially experiencing time like Andy Weir's the egg. Like he's just doing one life after another. He's a Groundhog's Daying it.
Yeah, he's just that makes. I don't know if that really makes sense with the way that they've set up the lore, but we'll take it.
I looked up at him, standing at the edge of the counter.
The same conversations. The same questions. And all for what?
That line. This is what you become when you play the game to completion. You just become Thanatos, just bitter and hollow, just detached as you just repeat again and again. And they don't feel like people anymore. I don't.
I'll tell you what it wasn't for, Dave. It wasn't to spend eternity solving a problem that has no answer.
I don't know.
When I ask you about Jack, what are you going to do?
What's going on in here?
Oh my god, Dave is interrupted from making a choice yet again. You've got to be kidding me.
Orlando?
Boy, talk some sense into Dave.
Thanatos, what the hell did you do to him? I was pulled from the ground and dusted off, Orlando adjusting the coffee cup in my hand before huffing at the rat on the counter. Adjusting the cup in my hand is, I'm trying to imagine that.
Nothing that wasn't necessary.
Instead of saying it like that, Thanatos, you could just say like,
yeah,
Dave was gonna make a bad decision, so I non-lethally, non-harmfully incapacitated him and just put him on his knees so that I could wait for someone like you to come in and help me.
I find that hard to believe. Just one way or another, the way he's phrasing it inherently reads as like, here is an abusive situation for you to take Dave out of immediately, because I'm sounding like it's like so he got what he deserved. Essentially, it's like just a very dumb line for somebody that experiences infinite timelines to say if they're trying to diffuse the situation. He wants me to think about what I'm doing about Jack. What?
Did I hear that correctly?
I turned to look at Roswell, who seemed out of it, stumbling into the room slightly. You look terrible. Rude?
I feel terrible. But what was it about Jack? Is he here? Not yet. At the rate we're going, it's unlikely. That's good, right?
Roswell, sit down. You look like you're about to collapse.
I'll be fine.
He's not sitting down. In the next minute, he's gonna be on the floor and chip one of his tusks.
You're bluffing.
Wait and find out then.
But what about the Jack thing? Are we in danger?
Orlando caught Roswell as he started to wobble. The minute wasn't close to being up, but I looked across to Thanatos.
We should talk, shouldn't we?
Are you willing to listen?
I still don't trust you, Thanatos.
Well, good thing we pivoted away from you being able to help anyone a long time back. Sal, Haas, and Dean are outside. Tyson will be down shortly and join them. I'll be taking Dave for a bit. What about me in Orlando? Rest or whatever. Dave will fill you in later.
For what I think was the first time, Thanatos led the way out of the kitchen towards the front door, not by climbing up onto my shoulder, but by walking along the floor ahead of me. I opened the door for him, and he stepped out first, with me closing the door behind us soon after. My hand was shaking, and I sipped at my coffee, looking out at the trees, trying to spot anything Thanatos seemed to be looking for.
I owe you an apology.
Am I going to get one?
What do you think?
Probably not.
Well, at least you've got that right.
Level with me. Do you hate me? All of us?
That's complicated.
That's not an answer.
Why does it matter how I answer? What you think of me and what I think of you lot doesn't matter, all things considered.
Outside of you needing us to help you anyway.
Naturally, but we're so close. So painfully close.
2.
The end.
I sat down on the steps leading out the front door next to Thanatos and continued to drink my coffee. You're talking about our escape? It goes well then?
It can, but that's yet to be seen. Things still need to happen.
I'm just gonna assume that you're either going to tell me specifically what I need to do, or tell me literally nothing and I'm meant to just figure it out.
If you haven't gathered already, you need to have a plan for Jack.
How can you even plan around him? He's fast, has a knife. Those are 2 traits.
More than one, actually.
Unless you can science me up some magic knife-proof armor, I don't think I have what it takes to deal with that. There is armor.
I've been trying to find a reliable solution myself. Keeping Dominic alive has worked so far.
Because he can keep his work buddy in check?
Don't underestimate how much that bear wants an easy job. You're not going to outbid Memphis, but if you can make his life easier while still getting Memphis what he wants, Dom will make sure it happens.
But what if Dom isn't around?
Then we have a problem.
So we need a contingency plan?
Unless you're keen on getting stabbed.
I drank deep from my coffee, trying to think about it. Could we set a trap? Would a weapon be useful? Escaping? Looking down into my empty cup, I wondered where I could draw some inspiration from.
Well, oh, this is Dave.
Well, I don't want anyone getting stabbed.
One of you is going to need to be stabbed, though. Maybe a little.
Need? Who? Why?
That doesn't matter who, but if someone's going to take the fall there, assume Roswell will get in the way like he normally does.
And if I don't want Roswell to get stabbed?
You offering to take his place?
I didn't like the idea of getting stabbed, but I didn't like the idea of others getting hurt more.
Careful, Junior. Show any more courage, and I think you're developing a hero complex.
It's not that. I just want my friends to be safe.
Yeah, I know. Heard that enough times that it's basically imprinted by now. Not as if telling you to give up and letting them die is going to be much different.
What did you say?
What?
Were you the reason I was thinking those things?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me just review that. Not as if telling you to give up and letting them die is going to be much different. Oops, it's the wrong skip. The thing, telling me to give up, to let my friends die.
If only.
I reached out to grab him and he just hopped backwards out of reach.
Careful, Dave.
You know something, don't you? I knew what happened the moment everything went black. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I swore at Thanos' ability to just knock me out whenever he wanted. And at least I was getting used to the sensation of, and knew what was happening. He's gonna cover himself with coffee. When I opened my eyes, I was restrained somewhere dark, off in the corner against some sort of rusted pipe. I could smell blood. My face was dripping, my head ringing.
Reckon the boss made the right call.
Dom, buddy, pal, friend.
You can't just say yes.
Look, I don't know. Don't care. I just want to know when we can get some action. I'm so bored.
Can always go and say hello to your friend if he's conscious.
I could hear the glee in Jack's voice as he made a sound somewhere between a mix of a gasp and a squeal. Whatever it was, though, it made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, could you not? I have a headache.
Spoil sport. Not like I have Memphis to mess with. I strained to look from where I was, but not only was I not in control, their voices echoed from far enough away that I got... Their voices echoed from far enough away that I got they were deeper into the mill. Things started to fade away when I heard footsteps get closer. I couldn't tell whose, but from where they started, I couldn't have been... It couldn't have been either Dom or Jack. When I opened my eyes, I was greeted with the sun and a small, throbbing headache. Ow. That's interesting. The fact that he woke up there and his face was wet and so on just actually made me think, wait, did Thanos just give us an early bad end again? Like, did he, like, take out Dave, spilled coffee on his face, and they just dragged him off into the woods? And then, like, here we go. I was flat on my back, staring upwards with Thanatos just off the side. He looked over my way once I'd made a sound and got closer. What happened?
I'll take credit for that.
I could feel myself start to get angry, but something stopped me. Something seemed off, familiar. You made me pass out again. Why? Thanatos gave me a look, eyes narrowing before he responded.
For fun.
What kind of person even does that? Well, I'm hardly a person. Yeah.
Well, I'm hardly a person, am I?
Ugh.
Why did it do that?
Flashback, I guess. It's a callback. It's like a you know, it's like at the end of a C-grade thriller. There's the revelation scene where they keep flashing back to prior conversations. Like, wow, it's paying off. It's crazy.
Yeah, it normally just would still have labeled the names there, wouldn't it? It's kind of odd that it didn't.
It's a little odd. Looking over to Thanatos, he seemed confused about something, and I thought I knew what. What kind of person even does that?
Well, I'm
Hardly a person, right. Me finishing a sentence gave him pause. Was he suspicious? Was it just all a big coincidence?
On a more serious note, 2 questions for you.
I remember that exchange, but I don't remember when. Was that the dream he had earlier about being out here with Thanatos, like a day or 2 ago? Or was it from the other route? I don't know what I'm going to do about Jack.
Yeah?
There isn't many options for us, is there?
What are you playing at?
Huh?
You know what you're doing.
What was the second thing you wanted to ask, I mean?
It's about what you saw in the little dream I gave you just now.
You mean memory?
Semantics.
I didn't reply, trying to understand how this conversation was going. It was like my dream, except I knew how it was going to go this time anyway.
Details, Dave.
It's basically what happened yesterday, except...
Except...
Thanatos clapped in my direction to wake me up. I was maybe...
He's so dummy thick.
God damn it. I was maybe zoning out a little too much, being aroused from my thoughts to look at him.
The hell is wrong with you?
What?
You know what?
I probably need therapy. I mean...
Yeah, among other things. From your perspective, had we had this conversation before?
Sort of.
Well, you tell me what happens next then.
How about a test?
I ask you a question, you give me the answer.
And if I get it right?
Then we'll know you've been through this all before, and I'll treat you something nice.
And then, the question is...
Where is the Leo medal?
My throat felt dry. In the place where Oswin does his best work.
Fuck off.
Do I pass?
We must have had this conversation before.
Not exactly.
Then how did you know?
Last night, the dream I had, you said you didn't cause it, but... Thanos scratched his chin, thinking it over.
You're right, I didn't.
Which means...
You're remembering. I don't know how still, but you're remembering.
Have I remembered before?
Sometimes it's inconsistent.
Huh. I scratched my head, unsure what I was meant to do with that information. What did you see? Oh.
What did you see when I put you under just now?
The inside of the watermill. At least I'm pretty sure it was there, from what I remember. From last time I was there last. Okay, I did add the last time earlier. I'm not insane. I was like, okay, wait, hang on a minute. I fell down the stairs with that one.
Anything else?
Dominic and Jack were there. Thinking about something. Talking about something. I was bleeding, maybe? Tied up to something in the corner, though.
Interesting.
Interesting, good or bad?
Just interesting. Something to think about.
Because? You're not giving me a lot to go off of.
Just because it's interesting to me doesn't mean it's going to be interesting to you.
Fine. Keep your secrets. God damn it. All I can think when if you say it that way.
It's probably literally quoting the meme. It's one of those moments that the furry people on Patreon will laugh at. Ha 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 ha. Besides, you probably want to know where the Leo medal is.
Well, yeah. The place where Oswin does his best work, so the lab? No.
He's gonna be like, no, stupid. The conservatory. It's like a greenhouse where you can read.
I just mean that, like, no, Dave doesn't care about the medal.
Yeah.
Like, why would he care about the medal? It's interesting that he remembered the detail between two timelines, but he actually doesn't have any in-universe reason to care about the medals and does not remember the conversation about the medals from the ending we got. So there's still just a dumb children's game that are so outside of the stakes he's experiencing that he shouldn't care. Especially since the character that's supposedly rewarding them for getting them all is probably being sacrificed tomorrow.
No.
You mean no?
That isn't where he does his best work.
The fuck
Called
you
it.
mean, nuh-uh? Then where?
Let's go for a walk.
Well, we're gonna find out where Thanos brings his dates. Shit, not Thanos, Oswin. Good joke, nailed it, perfect timing. First try!